everybody. Welcome to a bonus episode of the Fraud Boxer podcast. Today's a little bit of a different one. It's going to be kind of in and out, but I did a session, an MRC unlocked session this week with the MRC folks about how to get the most out of your first MRC. So I thought, what better time to do it now on my podcast, kind of recap for the people that weren't there at that session, kind of add in some of my own personal tips and tricks here. But I also brought a friend along here. So Diana, how are you doing today?
I am well, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back and doing another episode. You know, you and I have done a lot of these MRCs, we're on a lot of panels together. I believe for this one, we are even doing a special MasterCard panel on Monday for the merchant only session, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. I think it's Monday at 2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 or 3. It might even be 3, somewhere in there. Everybody check your schedules. But I actually, I like doing little panels with MasterCard. So I actually moved some stuff around to be able to accommodate this one. So yeah.
Yes, I think I've done the same thing.
Yeah, what were you going to do? Because I was going to have a meeting with a vendor.
No, I actually am originally from Serbia. I think I mentioned that a million times. And there's this wonderful little restaurant in Las Vegas called Derby. And a little bit of advertisement here. We just spell it differently. But they have Serbian food, so I invite few people that are my friends, merchants and vendors and everyone else, and we just get together and go there for lunch. There is a lot of good food, great drinks, so it's a great place, and we kind of kick it off with great Serbian vibe.
That's a good move. So just because I'm curious now, as we're going through this in real time here, what is Serbian food specifically?
Absolutely nothing healthy. We don't eat anything fat-free. We don't eat anything sugar-free. It's absolutely loaded with
the good stuff.
Fat and sugar. It's very good stuff. It's a lot of barbecue, a lot of salads, and but everything is, of course, loaded with proteins, and it's just very comfort food.
Well, that's pretty exciting. So I'm happy you get to do that. So hopefully you found a new place to move that to, so you can actually go and still enjoy that.
I'm sure we'll figure it out. We cannot miss that.
Don't forget to tell them that you shouted them out on the podcast. See if they hook it up with an extra drink or an extra rib or something.
Well, you know what? Every year I bring so many people. I think soon enough they're gonna have to do something for me.
Do they remember you every year now?
They do remember me. I actually know these people personally. Oh wow! Because again, Serbians, we kind of all know each other. Not all of us, but most of us. So I go there for almost 10 years. So of course they know me.
Well, there you go. Well, that was a good way to start this thing off. Now I'm hungry again here.
Yeah.
So, back to the MRC conference, the annual Las Vegas conference. You and I have been doing these for a long time. I think I've only missed one of them in the last 11 years or so. So kind of, I guess, what we consider ourselves veterans. We've done it all, seen it all. So, when was your first one? Do you remember even?
I'm not sure if I remember. Definitely not 11 years. I think I've been going a little bit less than that, maybe 7 or so. I do know that one of my first MRC was a platinum meeting. So, and I think that was a good way to start. I'm not sure if we have platinum meetings anymore, but they're much smaller. They're more merchant focused. So it was a lot easier to kind of get my foot in.
It's really intimate in those ones. Like I don't think they've done one since 2018, if I'm not mistaken, unless I wasn't invited, but I am a platinum member. But I think the last one was in Seattle right before the lockdown, and it was a really nice event. It's a lot smaller, it's only a couple of days, only a couple of vendors. Actually, they don't have booths, they have tables. Very, very easy to dip your toe into the water there to get the sense of what you're getting into. But this one's the big boy. This is the granddaddy, mama, whatever gender you choose to use, one of them all. So, well, I mean, let's give a quick background. This has been pretty instrumental in my career as far as going to this conference, getting to know a lot of people, interfacing with my peers, learning some of the process, learning some of the new trends. What about for you? Any things that's been good for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is probably one of the best resources for the e-commerce fraud industry, for the payment security. As far as my exposure to these conferences, and I've been to many of them, I really like the way I've been able to connect many different people because we will be talking a little bit about vendors, but sometimes you don't even know what you need. You don't even know what all is out there. So just connecting with different people in the industry, from vendors and merchants as well, getting a lot of ideas, sharing experiences. I'm making connections, and some of these, like you and I mean, we're getting more than just colleagues.
Yeah,
We're getting to be friends. So I think,
exactly.
and I do have a lot of very close friends that I met there. I mentioned sometimes last year when talking to one of the other people that are going to MRC, it's no longer a conference. It's almost like a reunion right now.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like I just had my 20th high school reunion this last summer, and look, like now that you mentioned that and like thinking about it, like this is like when I see everybody every year, I'm like, hey, what's going on, and it's just like we pick right up where we left off, which is always a good time. And this one's like
Yeah.
a day longer too, essentially. So I'm pretty excited about that because it goes all the way to the end on Thursday. So I'm gonna stay for one more night, get one last cocktail in. But as we as we start to bring our veteran knowledge to these new folks that are coming, the new wave that's coming up behind us here, let's share some of our tips that on how to get the most out of it. Now, some of those tips will be kind of a rehash from what we talked about the other day on the MRC Unleashed panel for the folks that were on there, but some of them will be some new stuff. And Diana wasn't on that panel, so we're going to have a fresh perspective as well. So let's just dive right in on how to get the most out of it, and we'll start with the exhibit hall. I think a lot of people think about the exhibit hall when they start thinking about conferences. A lot of booths set up, especially people that haven't been to like maybe an industry conference, but they've seen like Comic Cons, they've seen those sorts of events on TV. There's a lot of booths, a lot of people like selling their wares. With us, it's no different. We have vendors that are trying to sell us products. They have booths that have a lot of eye-catching stuff. One time there was a ski booth there, like you could do virtual skiing. There's a lot of cocktail booths set up.
Race
So
car driving. There was
yeah.
once race car
Was
driving. I
there? Like, see,
remember.
that might have
Yes.
been the one that I didn't get to go to. There was one in the middle there, but they also have like raffles and rewards for so you get different points. Essentially, I think this year they said they're going to be doing bracelets for visiting booths. So the more booths you visit, the more bracelets you get, and then you get entered into a raffle. This year, I believe they said they have five, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
PS5s, a
wow.
number of iPads. Usually they have like casino chips and then other random things.
I won a drone last year.
Last year, you
Yeah.
won a drone. Have you used it?
Yeah. No, my son used it.
Yeah.
I want that, and there was something else. I think oh something iPhone something related. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was, but I did win several awards, several gifts last year.
Yeah. The I won an iPod like Nano, like the very last generation they ever did. I think it was iOvation that gave it to me, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like super stoked to win it, and they actually sent it to me and everything. But after I got it, I loaded it up with all like the music and everything, and then I just never used it because I just used my
Oh,
iPhone everywhere I ever
for
go. And I
everything.
felt I felt
Yeah.
super guilty about like taking it at the end of the day and like winning. It was a raffle, but like I had to like drop my business card in to win. But I just didn't have use for it. It was a really weird time in my life because like it was like where I was transitioning from iPods into the iPhone, and it was like that was it. Like I'm all iPhone all the time now for all of
Yeah.
my streaming, all of my music needs everywhere I go.
Yeah.
But
Now
there is
everybody's
more
there.
than just swag in there. There is swag. There's a lot of swag that you'll be getting, but there is an approach. So for me personally, how I do it, and I'd love to hear how you do it, is I walk in the door and then I just kind of turn left. And then I just go up and down every single one, whether it be scanning my badge or getting a stamp if I need to. You're going to get the sales calls afterwards, folks. Just be aware of that. That's kind of why conferences exist at the end of the day. But it is nice to visit each and every single one of them, talk to the people, see what they're up to, because you never know when that small booth in the corner is going to be the big one in the middle next year. So
Yeah,
what's your approach?
absolutely. I am not that methodical like you. I don't go left or right. Um, I'm actually very looking forward to the expo hall because there is always something fun and something interesting there. And I like to see how creative some of these vendors are with their booths and with the ideas and what they bring to these booths, and also with the little swags, like you said.
Yeah.
I go in and I definitely don't go through everything like you on the first day. I'm more sporadic here and there just to see what's there. I do make it a point to visit every booth and talk to everyone that I possibly can. First, like mentioned, I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people, so I do go to say hi. Vendors that are currently our business partners or someone that I used maybe in the
Yep.
past or that I want to use in the future. I do go and talk to everyone. But throughout the entire time of the conference, I do make the point to talk to majority of these vendors to a little bit more details than just, hey, hi, what you're doing or getting putting your raffle ticket in there, because I want to know about the product.
Yeah.
I want to learn about the product. You may not need it today. You may need it in 2 months, in 2 years, but it's good to get that knowledge, especially to learn what new is out there, because
Yeah. And I
there's
think that
always someone coming with something new.
that's a super excellent point right there. Like you never know like what business is going to have the technology. Like you might be going through, and this is one of the things that I'll say later on my individual tips, but like you need to keep an open mind when you're at this conference, because you might not think you have a problem that everybody is talking about, but then you might all of a sudden, and like if
Yes.
you've talked to other people that are experiencing, or vendors that are specifically working on addressing that particular issue, if you visit and you take the time, you're going to know exactly who to call, get those demos, see what they're up to, maybe get some feedback on, and you might find a fix to a problem that you don't even realize you have yet, but you might actually be experiencing. So definitely like talk to a lot of people, which brings me to my next point, making connections. So how do you approach making connections?
Well, I'm extrovert, I talk to everyone all the time, and it's very hard to shut me up most of the time. I do introduce myself. Like what I do usually in the morning, I remember this, I've done this first two MRCs. I would walk in breakfast, and there would be a table with 3, 4 people sitting. I would just sit
Yeah.
there and say, hi, I
Just
am
plop
so and
down.
so from so and so. But here's the thing. First time I did that, I was working on INRs, refund fraud and all of that. That just started. And I was still trying to wrap my brain around what's going on here. What's the problem? And I sat down at the table, and the person right next to me was from USPS. I'm like,
Oh,
perfect. This
there
was
you
a
go. You
great,
found your target, huh?
perfect. And then next time I've done that, I think I sat next to someone from Akamai. So I made great connection. We're LinkedIn connection now. We
Is
talk
that who
every
you
once in
guys
a
use as
while.
your CDN?
That's our bot detection, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, this is not a salesperson, and this wasn't a person that is even working directly with my company, but it's someone who was just there to learn, and it was great to meet him and to talk to him, kind of share ideas. So that's what I do. I actually walk in, even if I know someone, even if I'm there with someone, and I usually am at the conference with someone from my company. I still sit any random table and I talk to people, breakfast, lunch, anything. And even during the happy hour at the bar, I will just talk to anyone. And
Yeah.
everyone is very friendly. Everyone is very welcoming and opening. So just don't be shy. Absolutely talk to everyone.
Yeah, and that's literally on my little document here that we're kind of following along, is talk to everyone. That's what I do. I For those people that haven't ever seen me in person, I'm like 6 feet 4 inches tall, so I
You
stand
cannot
out a
miss
little
Jordan.
bit. Yeah, and then exactly, and I'm a little loud. I have to tone down. I
Only
would say
Tad.
I have my volume on the microphone here just a little over halfway, so that's how much I have to suppress my volume here. But it's just how I am. Actually, funny story, and it has nothing to do with MRC, but on Christmas I had a little bit of a head cold, and I had my ear was like, it felt like it was plugged. So I all day during Christmas Day I was like trying to pop my ear, and like finally I got frustrated and I just plugged my nose and blew as hard as I could to try and pop my ear. Well, I ended up rupturing my eardrum.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, that was the whole thing. So over the next few weeks, it sounds like you're underwater on that one ear. And I was going to my doctor so they could look at it. They could watch the tear every 2 weeks. I was going in, and then I actually got a new doctor during this process. So it's like my new primary care doctor. So the first time she's ever like actually seen me for anything. And on like after I was like I can hear again. I'm good. Just like it's weird when I go in an airplane, it kind of makes weird noises, but when I'm not in an airplane, it's fine. And she's like, I just want to let you know
Think
like you're a
so?
little loud.
You're yelling?
Is that normal for you? And I was like, oh yeah, it's completely normal. She's like, I
That's
didn't know if like
me.
you couldn't hear and like you're just like yelling just to compensate. I'm like, no, this is normal. I'm like, this is normal volume
This is
all day. My
Jordan.
neighbors love me in this housing development here. They love me. They can hear everything I'm saying. I'm sure they're following along to this podcast right now, but they're
Hey,
enthralled. So we're gonna give them a
just
show.
make sure you report it to them what you're linking so they can get you subscriptions.
Exactly. We need these views. I mean, the views are going pretty good, but I could always use a couple more. Well, now we got like merch. Which by the way, everybody, I'm gonna have fraud boxer merch that I'm gonna be handing out to lucky individuals at the conference. So I have men's and women's clothes. So don't shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I will do a drop when I do a drop, and you just got to be there to be lucky. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
good luck, everybody. But anyways, back to the
Very
thing. So
exclusive.
yeah, that's well, I try to do. I'm following like the brands of clothing that do like those super secret drops. We're gonna do some of those, and when it's gone, it's gone. I did spend a significant chunk of change getting products made, so when it's gone, it's gone. But let's go back to the podcast
Let's go
because
back
I'm
to
still having fun
MRC.
with it. You and I always do this. Like we always have so much to talk about.
We have something to say. I mean, that's why we say it.
Exactly. So talk to everyone, get to know everybody, like talk to everybody at the bars, talk to people at the conference on the floors. People are going to be coming up to you. You don't have to give away your company's secrets, but definitely try to relate to people. But you never know who people are and how they're going to be and how they're going to relate to you. Just like with you with Akamai, now if you have a problem, you have someone to contact. And that might not be the person that you need to be talking to, but they'll help you get to the right person that you need
Absolutely.
to talk to. And I definitely use that all the time in my life. Like I will send a LinkedIn message to somebody that I know and say, hey, I know you're not the guy or the woman, but I need you to like point me in the right direction. And every single time it works for me. So talk to everybody. These are going to become your peers. That these are going to be the people that you will see for the rest of your life, hopefully, as long as you stay in this industry.
So I'm glad you mentioned to share information that you don't have to share your company's secrets. I think it's also very important to mention there is a way to share your knowledge, experience, and tips and ideas without sharing your proprietary information. I will never
Yeah.
share any of my proprietary information, nor I will ever ask someone to share it. But if I figured something out, or I figured out how to identify something and stop something, I will share it. So I think that there has to be a difference if somebody is asking you to share something. Feel free to share if it's not your proprietary information. So, because that's what this conference is all about, us sharing this knowledge and experience.
Yes.
And that's what fraud industry is all about. I hear so many people talking about how while we may be competitors elsewhere, like in sales and products, we are definitely collaborators when it comes to fraud. And we have to, because we need to be a step ahead of them. So yeah, share the information. Nobody's asking to share the proprietary info, but share the knowledge, experience, any type of ideas, or anything that you find it works, so it can work for us as well.
Excellent advice. Yeah, I mean, I try to usually share very surface level stuff. Like I just don't say like we wrote the rule exactly like this.
Yeah,
No, I
absolutely
say,
not.
we wrote a rule that does this, not how we did it. But
yeah, there is
so
a way to share without giving out any secrets or any metrics or anything like that.
100%. Yeah, don't tell anybody like exactly how much you're blocking or what your exact chargeback rate is. That might get you in a little trouble. But okay, let's move on to the next bullet that we have, which is how do you approach vendor meetings? So this is one of the rare times where all of the vendors and all of the merchants are in one place and everybody wants to maximize their time and everybody wants to have meetings, and those meetings will try and probably conflict with some of the sessions that you want to see.
Sessions, yeah.
So how do you approach taking meetings? Because I think you and I are going to be very different on this one. I have a very specific way that I do it.
I'm not sure how different we will be, but I can tell you my calendar is full, and we are a little bit less than 20
Yeah,
days
mine's full
away.
too.
And I'm like, and I'm not talking full with dinners, full with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between that I don't have any sessions. But I think my main reason for being there is to learn something, to get some new information. So sessions are number one for me. If I would have to rate meetings, I first meet with all of my current vendors and business partners, someone I'm already working with. So that's a priority. If I do have any remaining time, it usually goes to other vendors that I may be interested in learning about their products, possibly friends that I want to know, that I want to see, that I haven't seen in a while. So like I usually use the app. I check the sessions that I want to see. Unfortunately, there are too many great sessions, and some of them are at the same time. You can't always visit everything, but I will pick what I definitely want to see, what I definitely don't want to miss. And then I will go with vendor and business partner meetings. And then if I have time for everyone else, I will go ahead and do everyone else. I don't do coffee. I know you mentioned here coffee drinks.
Yeah,
I don't do that.
that
I
that
don't do that
actually.
specifically.
Oh,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
So no, I was gonna say that came up really. That was a big topic on the MRC Unlocked the other day. So let's hear your approach to the coffee.
No, I don't do
Yeah.
coffee or drinks. If somebody tells me, let's get coffee, if I know them, I may agree to that.
Hmm.
But no, first of all, I can't have that much coffee. I mean, I would be wired completely. Second, I don't really drink that much unless it's like a party at night where you can maybe a little bit more be a little bit more relaxed. But I usually don't do that. So I will usually tell them we can meet somewhere during between sessions,
Mm.
because between sessions that gives you what, 10-15 minutes.
It gives you a
So
stop
you
time.
exactly, it gives you stop time. So I will usually meet between sessions. I will maybe connect some other time, like before networking hour or before some dinner or party. But I definitely do not agree officially to any coffee or drinks, because that's short amount of time. It messes up my schedule. If it's bumped in the middle of my schedule, like at 2:30, I'm neither here nor there. So it's definitely not
Yeah.
productive,
So
not feasible for me.
yeah, and one of the reminders that they said on the MRC Unlocked session was remember that coffee at the Aria takes like 15 minutes. There's like it's a long line.
Oh, that's
So
true.
like just before you even get your coffee, you're going to be waiting. So one of the pro tips for me is if someone does want to ask you for coffee, you tell that vendor to bring you a coffee and remind them coffee line's long, so they might want to get in line a little early and show up on time to bring that coffee. But you know, depending on your
Yeah,
relationship with
that's
the
a good
vendor,
idea.
maybe not like someone you've just met, but if you got an established relationship or you're spending some money, then maybe say, hey, can you grab me a coffee? Then meet me over here by the elevators and we'll talk. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, you have coffee there everywhere. So I think they
Yeah.
usually have coffee provided in that
Yeah, but sometimes you want
kind
that
of room.
Starbucks brand. Sometimes you want that SB. You want the siren on the cup every once in a while, you know, or someone you want that oh, I got the pistachio thing the other day. Oh my
Pistachio thing?
goodness. Yeah, like so I was going to the grocery store the other day and I like grabbed a bag of like just pistachios. I haven't had them in years. And they were so good. And then I took my my direct reports out for like an offsite last Wednesday, and we we got to where we were trying to go a little early, so we had to swing by the Starbucks to kill some time, and they had like a pistachio mocha or
Oh, wow.
latte. I don't know the difference. I just usually drink coffee with cream in it. But it was so good. I had to slow myself down drinking it, so I didn't like do it all in like two gulps. But it was so good. So
So here's a
pistachios rule
tip,
on my world right
pistachio.
now.
There is a pre-order pistachio mocha latte, whatever. I don't know
Yeah, so
different people.
that's what I want, everybody. Preferably the cold brew. But so my approach is a little different. So it's similar, but it's different. So I book my meetings with my established vendors first. They get top priority on all of my time slots just because I do business with them. And then I have prospects that I'm interested in. Those go second. And then usually for people that we don't do any current business with or don't really have anything on the horizon with, it's more of a I'll swing by your booth. But specifically, how
That
we
too,
take
yes.
these meetings is I actually arrive at the conference on Sunday, and the Mondays are kind of a light day for most folks, unless you're new, because that's where like the fraud 101, 201,
Yeah,
chargebacks 101 classes are. And since I don't attend those, usually I set up my meetings for that day. Now, it can get challenging because a lot of the reps aren't always there yet on Mondays, but I try to start doing a pretty early and advanced notice that we're going to be doing these meetings. So I was able to get most of mine. I actually put MRC budget in for a specific room type that has a boardroom in it. So we actually have our vendors come to our suite that has a
good
boardroom in
idea.
it, and they meet with us. So then we can put all of them in back to back to back slots without having to walk back and forth between the conference. Now that can be cost a little more, so that might not be in most people's budgets. But for us, I spend most of my conference budget on this one conference because of the value out of it. So we put
Yes.
that into that space, and then we can maximize our time. So that way on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we only take meetings that we are absolutely required to take. And the rest of the time, my staff can be going to these sessions and learning, which is what we really sent them to do, to learn. I'm there to meet with my vendors. They're there to learn because they are my succession plan. So we really try and focus like their time to where we really want them to be on that. And then my vendors do that. I try to not do coffee as well, but sometimes I can't help it. I do try to say people that offer coffee, we could do a drink at like one of the happy hours later in the evening. You know, you can grab me, we can have a quick conversation. Otherwise, it's going to be in the vendor hall. It's going to be in the
Yeah.
exhibit hall for me. So
That's, I think, majority of the meetings, and that's a great approach. I didn't think about like getting that room, but to be honest with you, I typically know who I want to talk to before I
yeah,
get
me too.
there. So those meetings are already set, and there aren't that many. And one interesting thing is that last two vendors I actually started working with, or I'm in some at some stage of potentially working with, um, I actually reached out to them. They didn't reach out to me, not through the like a sales call. And I met them at MRC. I talked to them. I liked the product. I didn't have need or use for that product at that time, but later on, when
Yep.
I identified there is a risk gap, there is a need, I actually reached out to them, and that's how the conversation started. So that goes back to talk to everyone, make sure you learn about their product.
Mm-hmm.
But I just know that I try to meet as many people as I can in that exhibit hall between sessions. So when there is a cocktail, when there is a networking session in the afternoon. And I think that's the best way. You can't possibly talk to everyone, like literally talk
Yeah.
in depth to
Yeah, you're not
everyone.
going to have a 15-minute conversation with everybody.
No,
Yeah.
no. But I think you can get enough information in 5 or 10 minutes to remember and take it back and reach out if you need to. If you don't remember them after 5 or 10 minute conversation, then there's a whole another issue. Maybe you can remember them for a reason.
Yeah. That's funny.
But
That's a good way to put it. So,
but I'm going to tell you, I've been to different
yeah.
conferences in the past, and this one is probably the best one for me, just because of that level of collaboration and the connection we have, even with vendors and with other merchants. I just think it's completely different than any other conference I've ever
Yeah.
been to.
Like I think I said on another one of these episodes that like I've been to, like I went to like the Microsoft Convergence conference. I've been to others in our own industry. It's a lot more like fragmented. People are off in doing their own thing a lot more. When MRC, like you said, I think that's an excellent way to put it. It's almost like a reunion, sorts, which I think is a whole different vibe to quote the TikTok generation. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
MRC conference is a vibe. So
To me,
let's
definitely,
talk.
with so many friends and so many people that I know, I know that sometimes I can't even go through that exhibit hall without stopping
Oh
every
yeah.
2 steps and hugging someone and
I
saying
was
hi to someone.
I was meeting with my Braintree rep a couple of years ago when I was at my last company, and we just happened to be meeting in the hallway between the Starbucks and the exhibit hall. There's like that long walkway where it used to be the buffet, but now it's like a whole new
Yeah,
food court. Uh, and I can't have meetings there anymore because about every 15 seconds someone was coming
somebody
up to me
walks
trying
by.
to talk to me. Yeah. So gotta be a little more hidden, I guess, sometimes when I'm having the productive meetings happening.
Yeah, I know. With the first few years I went, I would never finish conversation with everyone because I would always be interrupted. So I learned to kind of step aside or make sure that I finish the conversation before moving on to something else.
So, speaking of moving on to something else, let's get into our hot tips here on how to get the absolute most out of it. Quick tips. I put some of these in the chat on that session, but I'm just going to speak them out again. So, it used to be in the old days, back when trees were a little more disposable, that they would give you a book that had the printed out version of all the classes. Now, in this modern world, we are saving trees, and it's in the app. So, a couple of things you can do is, if you choose to, and you really have to kill those trees, you can print it out and circle the sessions. But in reality, what you really want to do is really go into that app. You can download it now. It is on the App Store. It's available now. It's live. And add those sessions. It has a calendar builder for you. So you can add the sessions that you want to go to right then and there. And it'll actually send you push notifications that your session's coming, where it is, where to go, all of that. So I set my schedule early. So I know exactly where I'm going. I make sure that the classes that I know that I'm going, so I know what I'm going to be getting out of this conference. What do? You need anything around that?
I actually use the app. I was just looking to see because I still have app from last time. And I think it may be useful to share the link to get an app for the new users. If
Yeah,
it's
I'll put
not,
that in the description here. Yeah.
I think it would be
So
useful. But no, I absolutely have app. I definitely check off every session I want to go to. You can get messages through the app. You can actually, I think you can even add meetings to the app as well. So that way you get push notifications if there is a meeting coming up. So definitely use app for all of that. So that would be number one tip. And I think I would always suggest to go to at least one session that is not related to what you do, and it is nothing that you are working on, nothing that you have interest in, because you never know again.
Yeah,
You
that's
may
a
get
good
another
point.
job. You
I
may
am very guilty of
dive
not
into
doing
this
that.
one. I'm trying to do at least one that I know nothing about. I am not handling that type of fraud. I am not in that world. I'm trying to attend at least one of those sessions, like Latin America fraud or something. Right now
That's very
I'm,
relevant to me.
well, you see, You see, so I
Yeah.
always try to do at least one of those sessions that I'm not directly, I guess, involved with. Um, I don't I don't have like any super smart tips. I saw one of your tips here.
Go ahead
I
and take
have
it.
to No, I'm gonna actually change it. You said comfy shoes. I wear heels everywhere, and I think I'm
That came
known
up
to
on there
wear
too, and I
heels.
said on that I'm a fashion over function guy, so I wear my nicer shoes and uncomfortable clothes. You know, it's just how I
Oh,
want to present myself at that time. I noticed a lot of people. I went to Mag in the fall, like the polo shirts, like the golf shirts with the company logos is very popular right
oh,
now.
really?
Yeah, I've seen a ton of
Well,
people wearing that. That might just been a type of conference, but that this is I just noticed everybody was wearing like just a regular like golf shirt with their logo on it.
and I think people are trying to be comfortable and casual, and that's okay too. But I like to dress up. I wear heels, but have a backup. Have flats as a backup because being on your feet for 16, 17 hours, it can get pretty exhausting. Um, I have I know there is food, there is snacks everywhere, but I always advise people to have some type of protein bar or something because I noticed that there is food everywhere. There are lunches, there are dinners, there are cocktails, there are networking hours. But I end up going everywhere and then I end up being hungry at the end of the day
Yeah,
because you
but
never
you're getting
get
those
to
steps
eat
in.
because you're talking to all the time and then you are getting those steps in. So have something in your purse, um, maybe some fruit or some protein bar, something that you can snack on.
Excellent. So another one that I got is if you have conflicting sessions, like there's going to be a time when there's going to be overlap on sessions that you probably want to see. If you have a team that's going, if it's more than just you, there are times when you're going to need to divide and conquer. So you're going to have to send some of your people to one session, tell them to take notes, and bring them back to you while you attend the other one. So don't be afraid to divide and conquer. This, you guys, if you come in with rolling deep, you don't have to just stick together the whole time. Everybody, you can branch out.
Oh, absolutely. I don't do that only for sessions. We do that for meeting with vendors as well. I mean, I trust my team that they can have good conversations and get the information we need. Another thing I do actually every breakfast, if I do meet with my team, we kind of go over the previous day. What did you learn? What did you talk about?
Excellent.
What did you get for
Good
this?
little
So
recap.
yeah, we do recap every morning from the previous day, not just sessions, but any type of meetings they may have or anything they may have learned. So it's quick, 10, 15 minutes, but it's really useful.
Excellent. So I have another one. The one that we have on next on the actual list that we have here, we kind of already talked about. Introduce yourself, say hi to everybody. But
Yeah.
the one this one is more of it's a Jordan tip, it's a me tip. Time management. So anybody that's ever worked for me knows that I'm a stickler about time management. If you just don't be late, you don't show up to meetings not on time. You show up on time because like I want everybody to know. Like to me, if you're late to a meeting, it shows you just don't respect the other person's time, and that's
Correct.
bothersome to me. You know, I know other people have their opinions about that. This is a different world we live in. We all are allowed to have different opinions. But for me, time management, make sure you're on time. Make sure you're sticking to your schedule. I know that people want to talk to you and all that, but there are ways that you can say, hey, love to talk to you. Catch me at happy hour. We'll sync up.
Yeah.
Don't, it's disruptive to sessions if you're opening that door 15 minutes late while people are up there talking. Some people aren't used to talking and speaking on these things, so they can get really distracted. Like they're having a hard time getting the courage
Focusing
to
as
be
it
up
is.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like don't stress them out by coming in and rattling that dang door and then looking around trying to find a spot. Like just be on time. And then dinners, it's really important to be on time if you're going to a group dinner because some of these restaurants will not seat everybody until
Until
the whole party
everybody's
is
there.
there. So if you got 10 people there and the 11th person is just dinking around, the whole rest of that hungry group can't get sat until you're there. So be respectful of other people's time while you're attending these sessions. Stick to your schedule. That's just me.
So just so you know, if Jordan is hungry, it's not pretty. So better be on time if you're going to dinner with Jordan.
Yeah, it's
Um,
look, I mean it's just an easy thing to do. It's easy to be on time.
And don't think, oh, I'm not important. If I don't show up, nobody's going to notice. Yes, people will notice because they have limited number of seats and they picked a limited number of people. And I've been to dinner where I was the only one that showed up, vendor dinner, which I think was pretty bad. And it wasn't even vendor I was working with. It wasn't even anyone that I was thinking of working with. But hey, I made a commitment and I showed up and I was the only one. And I think that was pretty bad. especially because they went out of their way to book this place. And you
Yeah.
can only imagine how it is to book an actual restaurant in Las Vegas any day, not just during this
And they
conference.
have like minimums that they have to pay no matter what. And like
Yeah.
the food prices are already inflated when you come in with a big group. Like it's like a $500 or more per head, no matter what, you know, like
That's pretty bad. But you mentioned time management, and I think it's important also to mention that make sure you get your time into the right time zone, your calendar into the right time zone.
yeah,
Because
that's true.
if somebody says, "Hey, we'll meet at 3," and you put it in at 3 right now in your Eastern Standard Time, it's not going to be 3 when you get to Las Vegas. So make sure that your meetings are in the right time zone. And how I know this is because I was late to a breakfast once, and breakfast was with potential vendor, and I felt horrible because
You're
in the
3 hours
middle of
off on a breakfast. I mean, my breakfast, like I know what time I'm eating. I'm ready for breakfast, and I wake
I
up.
wasn't 3 hours late to the breakfast. I was already at the breakfast in the main hall when, like, 15, 20 minutes into the breakfast, I'm getting messages. Are you on the way? I'm like, on the way where? And it wasn't very close, this breakfast. So I think I spent half an hour apologizing to these people when I got there. It's because I am one of those.
Honest
I mean,
mistakes are different, but if you're being negligent straight up, that's where I get to think. But I mean, most of like everybody that's ever worked for me, like they've settled into a nice be on time thing, and like it makes your rhythm go, makes your day go. Like it's pretty easy to be on time, to be honest.
it is, and it's a respectful thing to do.
Yeah, and then like with the time zone stuff, technology is getting better. My computer sometimes freaks out if I'm going back and forth, so I try to double check it from time to time. But I just went somewhere and it switched time zones, and my computer was not having any of it, like just not at all. But I got it dialed in.
Yeah.
So another one here we have is be open to new processes. We've kind of already touched on that. Just you never know like what might be your future as far as like what attack you might be having. So be open to other processes, other approaches. Some people have pre-auth, some people have post-auth fraud. You just never know what you're going to need. But I think now to the happy stuff. Enjoy yourself and learn. Like just enjoy yourself. Like it's going to be a lot. It's going to be overwhelming. The parties are excellent. Our vendors are very generous when they have these parties and these dinners. So really enjoy yourself and just soak it all in. You know, like really soak it all in.
Yes, and make new friends, because all of these people I ever met are super nice, very friendly, very helpful, regardless of whether those are merchants or vendors. I never met a person that was mean or rude to me or anything, or even too pushy. I think they all kind of know boundaries. Yeah. So just give yourself an opportunity to meet a lot of great people.
Yeah, and like what that's also remember it is a marathon. This is multiple days. It's not a sprint. So don't go blacking out your first night, you know, because you're going to be paying for it for the next 3 days, sweating it out in sessions.
It's very important to get that rest. It is extremely important to get that rest. And I know that it is very difficult when you have to be, I say, mentally and intellectually engaged for 14, 15, 16 hours sometimes, because I know I am there around 8 o'clock and I do not come back to the room until midnight sometimes. Maybe once during the day I come in to change or to take something, whatever.
Just switch out of your heels to your flats.
Switch my heels to my flats. Very, very rarely. I think that happened only once. But it's very difficult to be mentally engaged and talk about fraud as much as I love fraud. But when you talk about it for 16 hours, it can get very difficult. So find a way to get that mental break, whatever that is for you. Find a way to get that mental break. Music for 10, 15 minutes. I go to my room probably once a day, like I said, and then I take maybe 10 minutes and just to de-stress. I know that at the end of the conference, when I come back home, if somebody says the word fraud, I get PTSD.
You can't take it?
It's like, do not say it anymore. I need to defraud myself.
That's funny. So there are a couple of things too, like just essential things to bring, and then I'll share my last big tip. The comfy shoes is on the list for a lot of folks. Like I said, I don't do that. You don't do that, but for a lot of folks, get those little Skechers leather side ones that look like a dress shoe. You know, you could be a little more comfortable. I cannot stress these next two enough. You must bring lip balm. You are in the desert. It's drier than you think it is. And don't bring just one, bring like 5, because you will you will lose one. And I would put one in your pocket, one on your nightstand, one on like the table in the room. I just put lip balms all over the place. You're gonna thank me later. for
Yep.
reminding you to bring a whole box of lip balms. And then another thing, a pro tip, water. They're going to charge like $8 to $18 for water in your room. That's cool if you got the budget for
18.
that. It's Fiji waters. Yeah, you think you're drinking one right now. It's probably leftover from last year. But
That's all I can afford.
the pro tip is there is a CVS in walking distance without even having to go through a light to the hotel. You just go out, you go past the taxi stand at the Aria, you keep walking down towards Las Vegas Boulevard, past the Waldorf Astoria. That's actually owned by the Panda Express people, by the way, the people that founded Panda Express. You just turn right at Las Vegas Boulevard, and you'll see CVS right there. And you can get your 24-pack of water. I recommend you just buy it and you bring it and you throw it in your fridge if you got any space. So I think the regular rooms don't
think
have
they have it.
They don't have fridge space. Sorry, I got my room does. But you
Lucky
know, you'll thank me later on the water thing too, because you're gonna be coming back from that night of drinking and you're gonna really want that water and you're gonna want that in the morning. It's just really, really bring that water. Yeah.
Did you mention that Uber does not pick you up where it drops you off, or
I didn't
usually
go to the
drops you
taxi
off?
stand. Everybody, there's signs. Read the signs at the
Yes.
Aria.
It's all the way down on the ground floor in the back, or I guess that's a back.
Oh, you're
but it
talking
drops...
over the back where the limos
Yeah.
drop people off.
No. They drop you off at the front of the hotel, in front of the hotel, before that reception
But
area.
in between the
But when you go
Vdara
to
and...
Uber,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes. You have to go all the way down. What is that, Jewel nightclub?
Yeah,
You keep
it
going
changes.
down
Sometimes it's
and
Tris,
it's in the
sometimes
back.
it's Jewel. Yeah.
I'm not sure if they changed it, but it typically does not pick you up where it drops you off.
That's
So
true.
look for the sign.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
rarely
another
leave the
tip for
grounds.
Las Vegas, you cannot be picked up by Uber just anywhere in Las Vegas. You can't just stand in the street and they will pick you up like in any other city, like smaller city. I know big cities have this. No, but just for those that use Uber and Lyft, there kind of pickup station or pickup spots for everything.
Yeah.
You can't just... They're not
That's a good
just
point.
gonna come anywhere.
Because I guess they'll probably just send you up to the front of the hotel where you can just get picked up there if it's not the Aria, everybody. But
yeah,
you know. And then I have a personal tip that I do and I use religiously, is have pool margs. They have 32-ounce margaritas at the pool at the Aria, and I sometimes take some meetings out there. And I sit with my margarita and I hear all of the wonderful things that my vendor's going to offer me while I'm having a wonderful margarita with my feet up. I can't recommend that enough. That is a very relaxing experience.
Let's hope that weather serves us this year as well.
Yeah, last year it was a little cold, but you know what? I went out there and I had him anyway. Alexander Hall came out there and was talking to me, and it was cold, and I was in my shorts, and I was like, I'll be damned if I'm not having a pool marg. So I have my pool marg.
I know you and Chris always go there, Chris Brown.
Yeah, Chris Brown and I, not the rapper, everybody, Ethica Chris Brown. Him and I try to grab some time out there. But the time before it was when we had that coming out of COVID, we had it in September and it was like 110 degrees. Like there was no way other than be in that water. So, and I took actually all of my MasterCard meetings there, and we actually got a lot of business done. So
that's good.
Very useful.
It was productive. My pro tip is massages. There is a great massage salon, or if you have to have
at the Aria, or are you going off strip here? Okay.
No. Aria, you can actually book that. You can book yourself a nice massage if you're like a day before, just relaxing with something. So that's usually what I do. I don't drink that much. So if you see me with the drink, I'm gonna give out a little secret. If you see me at any party with the drink, it's usually water with a lemon in it. I just pretend to drink because
I want to kind of be.
I will have one drink maybe, but I can.
I will have all of the ones that you turn down. I will more than make up for all the drinks that you don't have in this whole conference.
Absolutely. I just think after second drink, I would probably give out all the secrets. So I need to keep myself under control. I'm joking.
Excellent. Well, those are for my big tips. One of the things that I do, I don't know. Did you do a recap? I send a recap email usually to my leadership that shows that what we did and what we accomplished, usually bulleted out with a quick little paragraph. I try to use it to make sure that we show that we're getting value out of attending these things. So when budgets come back around, we can leverage those. Do you send any recaps or anything?
I don't send written recap, but I do meet with my boss and go over everything that we've done, what we learned, what we are bringing back, any new ideas or anything. So definitely do that. It's very important. I mean, you need to have some type of justification for the money spent.
Exactly.
Because,
you can't just go and party and have pool margs all day. Believe me.
But
Yeah, well, maybe you should. But thank you very much. This is about it for our tips and tricks. It's kind of a fun little bonus episode that I just wanted to put together. Thank you for giving me your time. I know we just talked about this like yesterday, and put this together. I'm actually going to edit this up and put it out tonight. So, same day turnaround on this episode. So yeah, thank you.
Um,
Everybody else, as I post this on LinkedIn, feel free to leave your own tips and tricks in the comments and let us know what you're going to do. And I can't wait to see everybody in about 3 weeks.
yes, thank you so much for having me, Jordan, and I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing everyone there.